Thank you, everybody. This is a special board meeting that I'd like to call to order. We're going to dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance and go right to the roll call. Christy, if you could please do that for me.
Yes, sir. Jeff Swanty.
Here.
Paul Bukowski. Jim Thompson.
Here.
Patrick McFall.
I am here.
Andrea Sampson.
Here.
That will take us into our regular agenda. And I'm going to ask City Manager Jim Thompson to give us an update from the Personnel Committee regarding the Fire Chief personnel matter.
Good morning. Members of the board, before reporting on the Personnel Committee activities, the committee believes it is important for the audience and the community to understand the complex government relationships that surround the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority. In 2011, the authority was established by a contract between the City of Loveland and the Loveland Rural Fire Protection District, both of which are local governments. The authority is governed by a 5-member board of directors. 3 authority board members are appointed by the Loveland City Council, and currently are the City Mayor, Patrick McFall, the City Mayor Pro Tem, Andrea Sampson, and the City Manager, Jim Thompson. 2 authority board members are appointed by the Rural District Board of Directors, and currently are the Rural District Board members, Jeff Swanty and Paul Bukowski. The purpose of the authority is to provide fire and emergency services to the citizens and property within the city and the rural district. While the authority itself is a completely separate local government, it is directly accountable to the city and the rural district that is established by it. In 2021, the authority board hired Fire Chief Sendelbach to serve as the authority's chief executive officer, responsible for carrying out the directions of the authority board. During the authority board's regular monthly public meeting on January 28, 2026, the authority board established this personnel committee for the purpose of addressing authority board concerns with Chief Sendelbach's performance, which concerns involve not just the authority, but also the authority's relationship with the city and the rural district. The committee is aware that the authority's firefighters, members of the community, and media have asked for information regarding this personnel matter. Because this is a confidential personnel matter, neither the authority board, its attorneys, nor the committee is authorized to publicly discuss the specific nature of the concerns. However, the committee can confirm the following. First, the committee placed Chief Sendelbach on administrative leave on January 28, 2026. Second, to ensure the authority's operation continue out without disruption, the committee appointed Assistant Chief Greg Ward as the acting fire chief, also effective on January 28, 2026. And third, at the time that Chief Sendelbach was placed on administrative leave, the committee inquired whether Chief Sendelbach would prefer to resign his position before the board considered whether to proceed further with this personnel matter. Chief Sendelbach stated he did not wish to resign. The committee is aware of significant misinformation that is being disseminated regarding this matter, including accusations that the authority board does not care about the firefighters or the safety of the committee. As members of the authority board, we can unequivocally state that nothing can be further from the truth. Each board member is committed to supporting the authority, its firefighters, and the well-being of this organization and the authority's citizens that we serve. Because the authority board is the fire chief's direct supervisor, it is the board's obligation to address concerns that arise involving the fire chief, even when the process becomes both difficult and at times unpopular. The committee does want to emphasize that the board has not terminated Chief Sendelbach, nor has the board made a formal determination on whether to take adverse action against Chief Sendelbach. If the board determines to proceed with this personnel matter, the board, with the committee's assistance, will engage in a documented process that provides Chief Sendelbach with a complete understanding of the board's concerns and affords him the full opportunity to address those concerns directly with the board before any formal determination is made. We appreciate your understanding as we navigate this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. That will take us to public comment, but before we begin, I'd like to read this statement. At this time, the board will take comment from the public regarding any matter on today's agenda. If you would like to speak, please use the raise your hand feature and then unmute your microphone when you are called on. State your name and whether you are a resident or non-resident of the authority. Please note that this time is for members of the public to share their comments with the board. The board will not respond to comments or answer questions during public comment. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes in which to share their comments. However, please note that to ensure sufficient time to address all the agenda items at today's meetings, the total amount of time allotted for public comment will be 45 minutes. If you have comments that are the same as comments already provided, please consider stating only that you agree with the comments of prior speakers so that the board can record your support for the prior comments while also preserving time for other individuals who would like to speak. If you agree with the comments of prior speakers and have something new to add, please consider stating that and then providing the additional information. Okay, we'll now open it up for public comment.
Point of clarification, if I can, Chair Swanty.
Yes, go ahead.
So basically, you stated that there's 45 minutes for public comment. My question is this, having done video public comment, is that all encompassing 45 minutes from the time we start public comment to the end of public comment? Or is that only to include the amount of time once the speaker starts speaking?
From the time we open public comment, we'll go 45 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I just needed that clarification. Thank you.
Absolutely. Christy, do we have anybody that'd like to comment?
We do. I'm going to share my screen, which has a 3-minute timer on it, and then I will call on the first person.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to call on John Fan. John, your time will start when you start speaking.
Okay, you can go ahead and start my time then. I'm assuming that everybody can hear me, and I'd like to introduce myself. My name is John Fan. I am a resident of the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority, and I am also the Laramie County Sheriff. So I apologize if you can't see me. I should be on video as well, but anyway, I'll keep going. I congratulate the board. As law enforcement agents, we like to ferret out information, and the board has kept this very secret. We have no idea why Chief Sendelbach is on leave, so that can be a monumental task sometimes. So I'm going to provide you with 2 incidences of my interactions with Chief Sendelbach, and you as a board get to weigh the merits of the information that I provide. So the first is July of 2024, as the Alexander Mountain Fire raged up the backside of Palisade Mountain. There was discussion at our leadership meetings that morning about with the U.S. Forest Service abandoning the citizens up on the top of Storm Mountain. Flame walls were estimated to be several hundred feet in height. The fire was gauged to be moving too quickly, and that if the community had been overrun, it would put a lot of people in danger. I remember going up that morning with Chief Sendelbach and members of his crew, as well as members of my emergency services team, and we took a look and stood at the end of Snowtop and looked across Palisade Mountain, and we designed a safety plan. We made the decision at that point that while it wouldn't be comfortable, we could safely insert firefighters to protect that community, contrary to what the wishes of the incident commander, what the U.S. Forest Service was at that time. Had it not been for that meeting and that interaction, that it's very possible that our community members up there on the top would have been abandoned to the ravages of the wildfire. So I appreciate Chief Sendelbach and his crew's interaction during that moment as we discussed safety options for our fighters, as well as the communities that and the citizens that remained up there and lived up there. So that's one instance that I wish to relate to you. The second one is my undersheriff, Joe Shellhammer, and I were at the top of 18E, or what's known as Pole Hill Road, just the other day, because we were quite concerned. The distance between Highway 36 and County Road 29 along the Pole Hill Road is one of the largest swaths of older growth timber remaining in Larimer County. And we were looking at access routes, evacuation routes, places we could establish safety zones, because there aren't a lot of access points up along Pole Hill through the Highway 34 Canyon or along that road. During our time up there, we encountered several residents that helped guide us to what was going on for mitigation work and spoke the praises of Chief Sendelbach. They said they were very, very appreciative of being included in the rural authority at this point. And even though they didn't like paying more taxes, they were very, very thankful for the advocacy presented on their behalf by Chief Sendelbach. Board members, I see my time is ending. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on my interactions with Chief Sendelbach. You have a hard decision ahead of you, but I appreciate this opportunity. I wish you the best. Thank you.
Gibb and Lisa Colwell, I am going to allow you to talk.
Thank you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Colwell, Coalwell, and I live at 14341 West County Road 18E in the Pinewood Reservoir area. My husband and I have lived in the community full-time for almost 30 years and are members of the Pinewood Lake Wildfire Action Group. We would like the board to know that Chief Tim Sendelbach has been the face of the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority for us. To be frank and not to disparage anyone else, Chief Sendelbach has helped many of us learn more about living safely in the wildland urban interface in the time he has been here more than anyone else in the past 3 decades. He reached out and then came out to our community to help us learn more about mitigation to keep our homes safer. He and his team of dedicated firefighters worked directly with residents to do that mitigation through home assessments, cutting and chipping, holding slash days using the air curtain burner, and bringing slash bins directly to our properties. They also worked directly with our wildfire action group to find a new evacuation route. My family and I have been through 3 evacuations, once driving down County Road 18E with visible flames in the near distance, so we know how important it is to have an alternative way out, like the sheriff mentioned. Chief Sendelbach worked tirelessly to keep our community informed during last year's LFRA inclusion process. After our residents voted to be included, he held a meeting in our community attended by dozens of residents. He said the event was, and I quote, designed to both inform and connect residents while helping the LFRA better understand the unique needs and priorities of our community. End quote. That statement sums up what Chief Sendelbach has done. He has informed us, helped us connect with our neighbors, and he has shown us that LFRA cares about Pinewood's needs and priorities. We sincerely hope and need for that to continue. Please show us you care as well by retaining Chief Tim Sendelbach. Thank you.
Stephanie Lane, I am allowing you to talk.
Hello. I am Stephanie Lane, and I have lived and worked in Loveland since 1990. I am on several different boards, and I know that the board's first responsibility is to our citizens and our community. We need transparency. which has not been provided. I am concerned, based on the agenda, that this board's mind is already made up. And limiting public comment to 45 minutes is ridiculous. It is our First Amendment to be able to let our board know what they need to do. What I know of Chief Sendelbach is that he is a nationally known fire chief. He is a chief of chiefs. He has an outstanding reputation, and he has the backing of his firefighters. His level of professionalism is second to none. Family. How many of you board members have a family to go home to tonight? A wife or a husband and your children? Guess what? Chief Sendelbach has the fire department. His love and sacrifice has always been to the fire department, and he is married to the fire department and has given us countless hours. He has set up a clinic at the fire training grounds to help detect cancer and other illnesses and to protect, again, our firefighters. He was instrumental in establishing the new burn building at the fire training grounds. It is hard to find fault in a chief who is protecting and fighting for his family and his community. Chief is also president of the FRFC, which is the Front Range Fire Consortium. And as this, he has brought leadership and established many great ideas for the training of our firefighters and their continued safety. As a member of the community and as a citizen of Loveland, I would like to know the process to recall the board, because you are hurting our reputation. You are causing an eyesore for Loveland nationally, which we do not need this again. As a taxpayer, how much is this going to cost us? We have every right to know. And I feel that the board members need to be paying for this directly out of their own pocket. As a board, you need to stop and think about the impact that you are having on this man and this community and this fire department. I am requesting that you reinstate the chief immediately and stop wasting everybody's money and our taxpayers' time. Chief Sendelbach, if they don't reinstate you, please lawyer up and go for the jugular, because each one of these board members has a skeleton in their own closet. And I will happily set up a GoFundMe to help back our chief. They are trying to ruin a good man's reputation, and this needs to stop now.
Michael Duncan, I am calling on you.
Good morning, everyone. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good morning, Chair, board members, and members of the public. My name is Michael Duncan. I'm the mayor of Johnstown, Colorado, a retired United States Air Force veteran with 20 years of service and someone who works closely with public safety leadership across jurisdictions. I'm here today to speak in support of Fire Chief Tim Sendelbach. In my career, both in uniform and in public office, I've learned that leadership matters most. When things are difficult, it's easy to lead when conditions are calm. It's much harder when you're managing complexity, scrutiny, and, and competing pressures while still showing up for your people and the community. Based on my professional experience and direct observation, Chief is a steady, credible, and principled leader. He is respected by his workforce, trusted by regional partners, and has a consistency placed the mission and the public safety above himself. I want to be clear about something important. Placing the chief on administrative leave is not a finding of wrongdoing. It is a process, and processes exist to ensure fairness, accuracy, and trust, not to predetermine outcomes. I recognize this board has a responsibility to ask the hard question, protect the integrity of the authority, and I respect that responsibility. But I urge you to weigh not just all allegations or optics, but the full body of the leader's service, the confidence of the workforce, and the downstream impact your decision will have on moral, retention, and operational stability. Fire agencies are built on trust between leaders, firefighters, and the communities they serve. Disrupting this trust without clear, substantiated cause has real consequences. As a mayor and as a veteran, and as someone accountable to my own community, I believe Chief deserves a fair, measured process and the benefit of leadership of record he has earned. I encourage the board to proceed deliberately, transparently, where you can, and with the eye toward long-term stability rather than short-term pressure. And I'm going to end on this quote: "Decisions are made in haste can cost an organization years to recover." Thank you, Mayor and Council and Board, for your time.
User George Garklovs, I'm going to call on you.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. This is George Garklovs, Loveland, Colorado, and I am a taxpayer funneling money to the board, to the Fire Protection District. I am not going to repeat any of the accolades regarding the chief. My concern is regarding the process which the board is taking. My own background, I've had a lifelong career with the federal service, in the federal government, and as an employee, I knew what my rights were in terms of personnel matters. As a manager, I also understood what those things were. Any types of personnel actions had to be grounded against the basis of written standards and performance standards. This precluded any types of personnel actions that were based on personality differences or things that were unresolved. There always had to be documentation. And while I understand the need for some executive privacy in a variety of situations, there's also an inherent responsibility on the part of the board to the taxpayers and the people that are funding the bill. As it stands right now, there has been a lot of lack of information. And while I understand that this is a process that has to take place, even the introductory statements by Mr. Swanty leave me somewhat confused in that the chief has been given the opportunity to resign, but has not had an opportunity to make public why he would be asked that. It seems like the board is under pressure somehow to put the cart before the horse. And as a public image, it makes the board look inept. And that's an unfortunate thing, because the board, just like the chief and anybody who works in the public servant, as a public servant, you have a responsibility to be accurate, open, transparent, and accountable to the public. The board has not been doing that. You're going to have a meeting. You're going to have a chance to do that. Here's a challenge for you. Why don't you ask the chief if he's willing to forego the privacy that is hiding all of the accountability right now? And if the chief is willing to do that, you can make this a lot more public and allay public fears that this is something made to get rid of the chief without the public knowing why. Do the noble thing, do that. If not, the other noble things would be for the board to resign. Thank you for the opportunity to share this.
User Craig Willard, I'm going to call on you.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. So Craig Willard, I'm speaking to you today as the president of Loveland Firefighters IAFF Local 3566. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. On behalf of the members of Loveland Firefighters IAFF Local 3566, this serves as the formal vote of no confidence in the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority Board. This action is in regard to recent governance and fiscal decisions that have been placed on the organization, its workforce, and the citizens we serve, placing them at increasing risk. The Loveland Fire Rescue Authority Board's recent actions, most notably the placement of Fire Chief Tim Sendelbach in administrative leave, in a confidential manner, cannot be viewed in isolation. Rather, they are part of a broader series of decisions that have destabilized Loveland Fire Rescue Authority and undermined its ability to operate as a modern, effective, and financially sustainable fire department. We advocate for Tim Sendelbach as our fire chief, based on his proven ability to address real issues with vision and professionalism, as well as his steadfast advocacy for the citizens of LFRA and its personnel. Over the past two budget cycles, LFRA has absorbed millions in budgetary reductions and funding constraints to an already diminished operation based on widely accepted National Fire Protection Association standards, originating from both the City of Loveland and the Loveland Rural Fire Protection District. These reductions have occurred despite raising service demands, inflationary pressures on equipment and apparatus, and increasing expectations placed on fire and EMS delivery. The cumulative effect of these decisions has been a steady erosion of operational capacity. Central to this concern is the continued reliance on the 80%, 20% city-rural funding model, which no longer reflects operational realities, service demand, or equitable financial responsibility. This outdated structure has increasingly diverged from current operational realities and service demands. Yet the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority Board has failed to meaningfully address or correct it. Compounding this issue is the existence of a surplus of funds held by the Loveland Rural Fire Protection District that is well outside of the required minimum savings and has not been made entirely available to LFRA to support operations, capital needs, staffing, or firefighter safety without a special request. While we are grateful to special funding that has been approved, LFRA is still struggling to meet basic operational and readiness standards. These surplus funds remained unutilized by the very district whose residents rely on Loveland Fire Rescue Authority for emergency services. The Loveland Rural Fire Protection District residents expect their funding of the LFRA to be immediately available for operational needs based on current and future service demands. And I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to the vote of no confidence reflects our members' belief that the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority Board should bring back Chief Tim Sendelbach, make a unified fire district combining the City of Loveland and the Loveland Rural Fire Protection District, allocate for legally available budget resources, protect the operational integrity of LFRA, and act in the best interest of firefighters and the citizens of Loveland Fire Rescue Authority. It took a little longer than expected, but thank you for the opportunity to speak. The full document was sent to the authority.
User Mike Connor, I am calling on you.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Great. Good evening or good afternoon, rather, members of the council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Mike Connor. I'm the CEO of Frontline Mobile Health. I'm also a public safety health researcher, and I'm here to recognize and support Chief Sendelbach, not only for what he has helped build, but for the kind of leadership he consistently demonstrates in service of his firefighters in his region. Our team has had the privilege of working with nearly 250 public safety professionals and leaders from across the country. We see many leadership styles. Even in that context, Chief Sendelbach stands out as a passionate leader who leads from the front, someone who places health, readiness, and long-term well-being of his firefighters at the center of every decision that he makes. He understands that operational readiness, career longevity, and family stability all begin with health. After seeing our clinic in Fort Worth, his response wasn't simply admiration and awe, it was action. He asked us a practical, forward-looking question. How can we build something like this here? And how do we do it in a way that it serves just more than one department, but also the community? And that question became the foundation for what became the Loveland Clinic. What matters is that it wasn't about copying a model, it was about the right model for his organization and the region. A clinic located on training grounds, embedded in the fire service culture, and designed around access, trust, and quality care. The approach has already resulted in the early identification of cardiovascular disease, cancer, and behavioral health concerns, leading to more than 70 referrals to medical specialists in the past 2 years for Chief Sendelbach's firefighters. In many cases, these findings were identified in individuals who were largely asymptomatic, still working full duty, and unaware that anything was wrong. Early detection in those moments changed outcomes, careers, and lives. Just as importantly, this work reflects a leader who thinks long-term. Initiatives like the Loveland Clinic don't succeed because of a single decision. They succeed through sustained leadership, follow-through, and trust. Continuity matters for the departments who rely on this care, for the regional partners who invest in it, and for the community that depends on a healthy and ready fire service. Chief Sendelbach has demonstrated that stewardship, and I'm proud to call him a mentor. On behalf of our team, I want to thank Chief Sendelbach for his leadership, his trust, and his commitment to doing things the right way, and give him our biggest support behind continuity and staying in the position. Thank you for your time, members.
Excuse me, we are trying to get Director Bukowski on as a panelist. I apologize.
Christy, there is an individual on the line named Paul. If you want to unmute that individual, we can confirm whether that is Director Bukowski.
Director Bukowski, is that you?
It is not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Christy, please continue with the next speaker, and I'll continue to work on locating Director Bukowski.
Thank you. User Tracy Powell, I'm calling on you. Tracy, we cannot hear you.
Hello?
We can hear you
I
now.
hear you now.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, sorry. My name is Tracy Powell. My husband and I live at 2480 Saddle Notch Road in Loveland, in the rural area above Pinewood Reservoir. We have lived there for 5 years. We purchased our property shortly after the Cameron Peak fires that felt like they would never end. In our short time here, we've experienced multiple evacuations. We've learned that wildfire is not a distant possibility on the Front Range. It's a reality. One of our closest neighbors experienced a lightning strike that hit their roof just days after a flood, tore up the mountain road, delaying emergency response. In that moment, neighbors stepped in. That spirit of helping one another is how we live on the mountain. Last summer, Chief Sendelbach invited rural residents to a meeting about joining the Loveland Fire District with an inclusion tax. The room was packed, the meeting lasted a long time, and he gave us many opportunities to ask questions. He addressed our concerns directly. He explained that approving the tax would bring stronger support, help with fire mitigation, assistance with insurance documentation, and improve overall services. Speaking only for myself, the chief was a beacon for me. Our rural population is aging. The seasons are getting drier. Fire risk is increasing. It felt like we finally had an advocate who understood our vulnerabilities and was willing to help us address them. I truly believe he cares about us. The rural tax has now passed, and we will begin paying in 2027. I believe that the funds collected from rural districts would go directly into strengthening protection in our areas, perhaps a substation, equipment staged on the mountain, or additional personnel to assist with mitigation. We supported the measure because we believed in the chief's leadership and the direction he presented. Chief Sendelbach is the face we committed to with our tax dollars. He and his team have attended community meetings and engaged directly with us. We have built trust with him and with the firefighters who serve us. Recently, we learned the chief has been asked to resign or forced termination. I was shocked. The lack of clarity from the board has created confusion and concern. This is not about personalities. I have served on many boards. Leadership should be about trust, stability, and transparency. Transparency builds confidence. Silence creates doubt. The board holds important responsibilities, and with that authority comes accountability to the taxpayers you represent, including those of us in the rural area. I respectfully encourage greater visibility and communications moving forward, especially during times like this. Chief Sendelbach has consistently demonstrated dedication and passion and a willingness to stand side by side with his community and his firefighters. His commitment matters to us. Do the right thing and reinstate the chief.
Thank you. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna promote Director Bukowski. Director Bukowski, that's the wrong person. Okay, Director Bukowski, you are now a panelist.
Christy, thank you very much.
All right. User Gina Gonzalez, I am calling on you.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you for having us. I have been honored to serve Loveland Fire Rescue Authority as both volunteer and career firefighter for coming on 18 years. We were known as the most progressive fire department. That's why I came here. We traveled internationally to retrieve the most updated information on firefighting, prevention, and firefighter health in order to serve our community better. Our fire department became internationally known for this. Members have strived to be the most progressive and sought out new trainings and teaching opportunities, and I'm one of them. I'm actually being asked to teach internationally our operating procedures, and I'm proud to represent Loveland Fire Rescue Authority. Chief Sendelbach and our former chiefs are an enormous part of representing us. Operating a fire department is not only about apparatus and fire stations. Slowly, over these years, because of political battles with finances, we are now restricted to only attending trainings within our positional matrix, firefighter to firefighter, engineer for engineer, and so on. And if we are approved to attend, we have to work trades because we can't use overtime anymore. In other words, we have to work another 48 hours for free in order to advance our career outside of our matrix. We are progressively falling behind in bringing up our positional depth for promotions, and we are no longer leading the industry. This affects our long-term sustainability to backfill for coming retirements with upcoming officers and engineers, and our recruitment process to get new firefighters to come to us. Number two, our fire chief. When he comes to you, he's not speaking in a vacuum. He's speaking for all of us. Firefighters inherently are problem solvers. Our entire purpose in life is to solve problems. And when we have little or no information, it feels like one of us is at risk. Well, I hope you can understand our responses as a family when it feels like when it's an attack on one of us, it's an attack on all of us. And our needs for sustainability as a whole become risked. Number three, as a rural resident of Loveland Fire, I was also a part of the original door-to-door firefighter group ask in 2012 to increase the mill levy to save our rural protection district. And after all these years, to find out that all of our property taxes as rural residents intended for the fire department are sitting in a savings account while none of LFRA is able to progress our members educationally. Taking that away by lowering the mill levy will destroy everything we've done in 2012. And now when we try to reinstate that, Loveland Fire Rescue Authority members will be blamed. Thank you so much for
User JB, I'm calling on you.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Members of the board, my name is Jeremy Bell, and my business address is located at 526 West 66th Street here in Loveland. I'd like to address the LFRA board's decision to place Fire Chief Sendelbach on administrative leave. As a current Loveland business owner, retired LFRA firefighter, current member of the Loveland Career Firefighters Association, and part of the most recent campaign management team for the Yes for LFRA and Fire Safety Initiative, the recent decision on Chief raises significant concerns regarding its overall impact on the organization and community. The LFRA is operating in one of the most challenging periods in its history. During the Chief's tenure, the organization has been asked to do more with fewer resources while facing major challenges. including the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, Alexander Mountain Fire, rising apparatus and equipment costs, and a significant reduction in city funding following the repeal of the food safety sales tax. This pressure has also been compounded by political tensions at the city council and board levels that have directly impacted fire service operations. Throughout these challenges, Chief Sendelbach has led with professionalism and a clear commitment to public safety. It is also important to point out that the fire chief has not made decisions within a bubble. The current state of the LFRA organization has been directly affected by the leadership of the LFRA team, you as the board, the Loveland Rural Fire Protection District Board, City Council, and the Loveland citizens. They must all own their piece in the state of the organization's positive or negative state. Under Chief's leadership, however, LFRA firefighters and staff have continued to protect life and property under strained conditions. As a simple example of this pedigree, Chief's leadership has recently, this January, earned national recognition with his election to the Commission of Fire Accreditation International's board. This speaks volumes as to what the chief is and what he stands for. In addition, the recent support shown by LFRA firefighters, administrative staff, and the now union speaks volumes to Chief's leadership and direction. Placing Chief Sendelbach on leave undermines organizational stability and silences a critical role when leadership is most needed. The LFRA faces systemic challenges that can no longer be ignored. The current authority governance model no longer serves the organization or the community effectively. This is the real problem that must be solved. A transition to an independent fire district supported by voters is necessary to ensure sustainable funding, accountability, and long-term public safety. Now, I respect the position of the LFRA board and the Loveland Rural Fire Protection District Board for what you have done and continue to do for the Loveland community. Your positions are not easy, and I know your intentions are to support the LFRA to the best of your abilities, but so is Chief's as well as the entire LFRA staff. Removing Chief will without a doubt weaken LFRA and delay progress. I urge the board to set aside any personal differences, reinstate the fire chief, and work together as one team to secure a stronger future for the LFRA and the community. Thank you for your time and attention.
User George Stanley, I am calling on you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is George Stanley, and I'm a resident of the city of Loveland. I'm also a member on the Loveland Fire and Rescue Advisory Commission. I've been on that commission for 3 years and just up for another 3-year term. I just want to support Tim Sendelbach, Chief Sendelbach, because he has just done a fantastic job. His concern is for the firefighters and his staff and to make sure they have the proper pay and benefits. And yes, I'm sure he's had some disagreements over budget issues, but that's his job, okay? And I've only our many meetings with him. He's been transparent and clear, articulate. He is a true professional. Okay, so I'm just going to stop right there, keep it really short. Thank you very much.
User Rob Nielsen, I'm calling on you. Oh, sorry, user Zach Kane, you got called on.
Christy, do you want me to speak now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hello, board. My name is Zach Keen. I'm not a resident of the LFRA, but serve as a lieutenant for the organization. I'm coming to you today to speak not about emotions or personal feelings, which is what a lot of us are speaking about today, and rightfully so, as it's a pivotal part in our journey as an organization. But these things aren't emotions, and personal feelings are something that we're allowed to treat Mr. and Mrs. Smith that we so often talk about, our community members when we serve them. And I don't think that today's decision that you guys face should be clouded by emotion or personal feelings. I spent a lot of time thinking about this over the last few weeks and looking towards the future for us as an organization, for us as a fire department family. And my worry is how do we move forward from this point? And unfortunately, no matter how this process ends up, I'm worried that for the first time in my 9 years serving this community with this organization, that we're going to be taking a step backwards. For the last 9 years, every year, every moment we've had, whether it be small, we've taken steps forward. Like many people have spoken about, we've been a progressive organization. And I feel like if this decision is handled with emotions and personal feelings and haste, our only option is a step backwards. I understand you guys have a big decision to make and that one hasn't necessarily been made right now. So I do ask you that if you continue to move forward with this process, that you guys do so with clarity. And I'd urge you to employ a third party, independent, non-biased entity to conduct the process in investigation. Thank you.
Rob Nielsen, now I'm calling on you.
Great, thank you. Chair, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Rob Nielsen. I am not a resident. I'm the CEO and founder of All American Leadership, and I've spent over a decade working with fire service leaders across the country on leadership, culture, and organizational trust. I want to speak in support of Tim Sendelbach, not just as a fire chief, but as a leader whose character and humility have had a positive impact on thousands in his profession and thousands in the communities that he served. One of the things that stands out most about Tim is that he has never led for recognition or personal gain. He leads with quiet humility, a genuine concern for people, and a consistent focus on service. That kind of leadership doesn't always generate headlines, but as we've heard from so many others this morning, it earns trust. The unprecedented support he has received from the community and from within his own department speaks volumes. It is simply not heard of in the fire service to have that kind of support from the rank and file within one's own department. Votes of no confidence are always levied against the chief, not in support. And what's more amazing, it wasn't ordered, it wasn't coerced, it emerged naturally from people who have feel seen, supported, and cared about. And when firefighters feel that way, your communities benefit directly. I also want to acknowledge that leadership roles inevitably attract politics, rock throwers, and noise. But character always has a way of cutting through that over time. In my experience, leaders who consistently put people first tend to withstand these moments, not because they sink to the level of their detractors, but because others speak up on their behalf. And this just appears to be one of those moments. When I was selecting speakers for the 2026 Fire Leadership Symposium at the National Medal of Honor Museum, Tim was an immediate choice, not because of his title or his name recognition, but because his leadership reflects the values of that institution. I just want to offer my full support to Chief Sendelbach and appreciate the opportunity to put this support on the public record. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker Jen Castaneda, I'm calling on you.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I am really pleased to hear so many people coming out to support the chief. I am asking the board to be transparent here. I am asking for transparency and accountability. across the board because, as everyone here has heard, Chief Sendelbach is a nationally renowned fire chief. He is a terrific leader. I am so thankful to have him as our fire chief. I want to speak real briefly to the budgetary piece because, although public safety has often been a very critical funding responsibility of our taxpayers, our police department is getting $36.4 million annually in comparison to the $29.1 million going to LFRA. I supported the independent fire district being created. I was sad that that did not occur. I am asking that the city not just provide the transparency to this community and to the department over the matters concerning why Chief Sendelbach has been put on administrative leave and then asked to resign or to be fired. And that is a devastating thing to have happen in our community. I have absolute trust and respect for the chief, and I know that so many in our community do. But I feel that the city and this board need to take accountability for jumping the gun. I think that we have a due diligence process that needs to be completed, but it does need to be completed with an openness that this community can rely on the information. I hope that the board will make the right decision pertaining to our chief and that he is reinstated. He deserves more than a fair shake in this. And I think that we have failed financially to support our fire department and all of the needs. I would rather call the fire department any day of the week versus our police department for their assistance and service. And I expect that many in our community feel the same. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for all the speakers who have come forward and honored our chief. I have a lot of respect for all of you. Thank you.
Christy, we have time for one more speaker. Christy, can you hear me?
I can.
Thank you.
Speaker Scott Kretschmer, calling on you.
Okay. My name is Scott Kretschmer. I represent the rural district on the Fire Rescue Advisory Commission. I joined the commission basically the same time Tim was hired, and I've watched him through the entire time here at LFRA, and I felt like he's always been trying to move forward, trying to solve problems, but it just has always seemed like we've had some obstructionists that are always poo-pooing any idea he has. He's tried to organize the department into a district. He tried to get the fire safety tax. He has talked with other places about mergers. And I feel like the two boards have been problematic. And one of the biggest problems has been Brian Waldez from the city. He's always needs to control the money, and the flow of the money is probably the main problem with the department. Tim has set up a bulk buying of equipment within the consortium to try to save all the departments in the area of money. He set up the wellness clinic and got grants for that clinic to happen. He's set up mitigation for the rural areas that mostly happens in the rural. The rural board did contribute quite a bit to that, but it is mostly in the rural area. He's done a lot to organize the consortium for the training of new cadets coming in. And I just feel like every move he does, somebody else is trying to keep their control, and has stopped him from being able to move forward. I think the district was the best idea, and it would get rid of this absurd 80-20 split. Myself, as a rural resident, I voted for it, for the money to go to the department, not to sit in a bank account. And I think the money should basically just be made available directly to the budgeting process. Thank you very much.
Okay, that will conclude this portion of public comment. We thank all the speakers for coming forward and sharing your concerns and comments with us. That will take us to agenda item number 3, discuss and consider ratification of personnel committee actions. There were 2 recommendations by the committee. One, placing Fire Chief Tim Sendelbach on paid admin leave. And the second was naming Assistant Chief Greg Ward as acting fire chief. And we would also like to recommend giving him a temporary raise while filling in this position. Having said that, I will open this up for board comment only. Any comments from board members?
Jeff?
Yes, sir.
I'll start with the last piece first. I realize just in my years of experience in leadership and in having folks that may have left a position, that in all fairness, the aspect of somebody taking it over, that there should be some compensatory aspect to it, of allowing it in there. One of the things that we've always looked at was the time frame it took. And so I would say this, that yes, I'm for an increase for anybody that's in the acting position while we're going through this matter itself. Part of our jobs in leadership are to step into these positions temporarily. What we'd always taken a look at is if it occurred, if the position was going to be held in a temporary aspect for 30 days or greater, that's when we look at the part about adding in there. So I'd just like us just to take that into consideration in itself. If this is going to be over in less than a 30-day time period, I think the effort of going through there and maybe I don't know if the board can look at a bonus for being able to sit in there or something. It's something to look at, but doing a pay increase and doing it for a temporary period or whatever does take a while. It takes time to set it up. So just wanted to bring that forward on there, but I'm not against that.
Thank you. Other comments?
I believe Director Sampson has a comment.
Andrea?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Emily. Yes, I agree with Director McFall so far as the pay is concerned. I did just want to briefly address to the committee. Thank you for the 2 committee members for stepping up and taking on that role for the board. There was a lot of concern during public comment. There's been a lot of concern publicly as to our process and how things, are working here. And I just want to say, this is so delicate because it is a personnel matter. And, I know that we've asked the committee to really kind of carry the torch for us. And so I just want to say thank you for that. And I know there's going to be more that we ask of you, but I'm in support of ratifying that and making that official. And then, hopefully we can start sharing a little bit more with our public as soon as we are able to do so. I'm sure that we will, but thank you for your work. And yes, I support that as well.
Thank you. Director Bukowski, comments? Hearing none. Mayor McFall? I'd like to clarify what you were saying on a bonus versus a raise. Are you making a motion there suggesting, what is your preference there?
Well, obviously my preference, because it can be standard. I just don't know what the aspect of a raise. But if this is going to continue on past the 30-day time period, then I think a raise is most appropriate for at least the time period it's there, and depending on what it is. I just don't know. Like I said, I mean, both Director Sampson and I are kind of new to the board, so I'm learning on the go on a few of these things when it comes to that. I do want to say that I do agree with what Director Sampson had to say about the board. I really appreciate you two stepping up into this and doing this. And I understand we're going to be doing a longer discussion. And I'm with, I think, a lot of us on there. I mean, I really would like to be able to do some of these things in public, but I do understand it's personnel, and being personnel, you just can't do that. And that part of it goes from there. So I guess, Chair Swanty, the question I have is this: if it's going to be less than a 30-day time period, I was just wondering what's the possibility of providing a bonus. Outside of that, I'm 100% for a pay increase if this continues longer.
Yeah, and Director McFall and Chairman Swanty, if I could comment on that. I think at this time it's fair to say we don't know how long the process will take because the board has not taken any formal action to this point. So until the board does make a determination regarding the path forward, we can't know how long it will take. We do know that the acting chief has been in that role for 12 days. There is no legal urgency or emergency to addressing pay issues. And if today is not the right day, we do have several other items still coming up on the agenda. Certainly, we could table consideration of appropriate compensation for Acting Chief Ward to a future meeting and revisit that once we have more information about how events are likely to unfold.
Thank you. And for our audience, that's Emily Powell, our attorney for the LFRA. Thank you, Emily.
Yes.
Jim, is there anything you'd like to add here? Or?
No, not at this point. Other than it looks like we have 3 separate motions that we probably need to make. So I'll make the first of the 3, and then probably I can make all 3 if we desire. But first, to place Fire Chief Tim Sendelbach on paid administrative leave.
We have
yes, we'll be looking for a motion to ratify that action as taken by the Personnel Committee.
Thank you. We'll need a second on that.
Second.
I'll second that.
Further conversation? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried.
I think Director Sampson has her hand up, though, Chair.
Oh, thank you. I did to address the pay piece, but we can talk about that when we get to that motion.
Okay. Would you like to go ahead with the second one, Jim?
Yes, thank you. To ratify the Personnel Committee's action to name Assistant Chief Greg Ward as our acting fire chief.
I second that.
Did I hear a second?
Yes.
Yes. That was Director McFall with the second.
Okay. We have a first and a second. Is there any further conversation? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. And Jen, the third.
Just a quick question for Emily or Andrea, if she's available, or Chrissy. What traditionally what do we do on bump up pay that's in the probably admin regulations and in the fire side and the authority? Can somebody clarify that for me?
Yeah, I think that's actually probably a question for your HR director, Andrea Wright. I'm not even sure she's on the call today, so that may be a further reason to table consideration of that action to the next meeting when we can have Andrea present to share that information with the board.
If I could go ahead and say this, I did have a conversation with her to see what was standard. And she felt a 10% increase while in that row would be a fair number. I'm not necessarily recommending that, just offering that as her suggestion, and I'll open that up for further conversation.
Thank you for that clarification.
Any further? Andrea?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm comfortable if the board decides that we want to move forward on this today, I'm comfortable with that. 12 days of being acting, it's extra work, that's for sure. I know it's expected, but it's also, had to be accepted. So I'm in support of increasing pay. I don't particularly, no offense, Director McFall, I don't particularly care for the bonus just because we don't know exactly how long, acting Chief Ward will be serving. So I think just a bump in pay, so there's at least a little bit of certainty for him and for the board as well. Moving forward financially, we can have a better picture of where we're at. So I also would support the 10%. I think when we had an acting city manager, I believe we did a 10%. Is that correct, Director McFall? Do you recall, was it 10% bump for our acting city manager?
I know there was a bump. I can't say exactly what it was.
I think it was 10. So I'm comfortable with that number if that's what the board would like to do today. I don't see any reason to not address it today because we're going to have to address it eventually. So,
Chairman.
Yes.
Yes, Christy.
Andrea Wright is on the call and she does have her hand raised and would like to speak.
Andrea, go ahead, please.
Andrea, you should be able to talk now.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for letting me speak. So our policy says if we anticipate somebody being in a full acting capacity for over 2 weeks, then we would consider a pay increase. It doesn't say exactly what that pay increase, but yes, Chairman Swanty is correct. And historically, we've gone with the 10% for this position.
Can I just ask a clarifying question before Director McFall speaks of Andrea? Andrea, if I could just ask you a clarifying question on that. Do we then make it retroactive?
We do.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and we typically make it start the beginning of that pay period. I know that adds a little more complexity, but that's typically what we do.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor McFall?
Yeah, and I just want to, Andrea, thank you very much. And I was going to throw some clarification in there, and Andrea can correct me if I'm off on this. The main reason, and this is kind of what I was saying in there, that if it was going to be, if it was going to be up to a 30-day time period, or as Andrea said, longer than 2 weeks. The reason for that is because it's not unusual for leadership to take vacation. And when leadership is out on vacation, they are normally out on vacation for a 2 to 3 week time period. At that time, they'll place an acting in that position, which is a temporary time period for that 2 to 3 week time period, which wouldn't incur or wouldn't cause a pay increase. And that's why we looked at this and kind of did it that way. So if it is, and it goes to show in its permanence. So what Andrea says is 100%. I would 100% follow in line with what the policy is since it's written down. I threw the 30 days so that we could take a look at that itself. We're sitting at 12 days right now. So I really think looking at this at the next, if we're going to have another board meeting soon or in there. And the fact of the matter is it should always be retroactive to the time period it starts. So it's good to hear that piece too. So anyhow, that's all I wanted to throw.
And without presuming what the board would like to do, so you can feel free to entirely disregard what I'm about to say if you'd like. But an option before the board, if the proposal to increase pay is acceptable, would be a motion to authorize a 10% increase in acting chief pay in the event that the acting position extends beyond Wednesday, February 11th, such pay to be retroactive to the start of the pay period that includes February 28th.
So moved.
I'll second that.
I don't think she can make a motion.
I'll second that.
Well,
There, okay.
I made it.
So we've had a first and a second. Is there any further conversation?
Just that I would 100%. I think that's a spot on motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
It was
say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. So we've actually covered through item number 4, which takes us to number 5.
Can I
Executive-
take a point of, can I get a point of clarification if I could, Chair Swanee?
Yes, sir.
So there are a couple of this, if it's okay, I'm going to direct this to Emily and let her know. But I know standard process for us is if we have questions that come up during public comment, that we normally trying to address those questions that are out there. And I captured 4 in there, and I just don't know if it would be appropriate to answer those or not. So I would like the ability to at least let Emily know what they are, and so she can make the legal determination of whether we can go that way, if it'd be appropriate.
I'd be happy to hear what the questions are. I'm not sure we will be able to answer them today simply because each board member may have different feelings or responses to the questions, and we want to make sure we speak with one voice and not 5 opinions. But if you want to let me know what the questions are, we can certainly take that under advisement and hopefully find a way to address those questions in the community at a later date.
And that's fine with me if Chair Swanee is good with this, because I just want to make sure that the public understands that they are being heard.
If I could suggest this, Mayor, we could, assuming this would be okay, Emily, discuss this in our executive session. And when we come out, open it up to your comments on that, Mayor. Would that be acceptable, Emily?
I'm fine with that.
Potentially, but we want to make sure we maintain the integrity of the purpose of the executive session, which is specifically to receive advice of legal counsel regarding the fire chief personnel matter. Without knowing what the questions from the community are that were identified, I can't say whether or not they fall into that category. Perhaps also I can follow up with Director McFall after the meeting, and he and I can discuss separately and then bring it back to the board at a future meeting. I think regardless of how this meeting ends today, those questions will remain, and we will have ample opportunity to address them with the public in the future.
Thank you.
Well, with all due respect, if I could, I would like to hear the questions. If we could, I know we don't want to necessarily discuss it, and we can just say, hey, we can't discuss that, but we have over 290 people online. There were only 4 questions that one of our directors was able to collect, and I think it'd be brief to ask them. If we can give some answers, great. And if we can't, okay. So that's my perspective. We don't all have to share it, but that's just kind of where I sit with this. And I would like you to consider hearing the questions.
Emily?
I think it's fine to hear the questions. Like I said, it may not be appropriate for response today, because we want to make sure we're speaking from a majority board perspective as opposed to individual opinions. But we can receive them, circle up following the meeting. I can circle up with Patrick McFall or any individual who might have answers to the questions, and then we can find a way to share them with the community in the future.
Okay, thank you. So Mayor McFall, I'll call on you to ask your questions, please.
Okay, so one of the first ones I picked up was, how do we recall this board?
Okay.
The next one is, what's the cost to replace the chief if this action, and I'm paraphrasing, what's the cost to replace the chief if this action results in a termination?
Okay.
Why is the board taking this path in secret?
Okay.
And I paraphrase this one as well, but I think I've got it. We've paid the inclusion tax in the rural district. How is the inclusion tax worked in with the 80-20 rule?
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of that's a wide variety of questions. There is some nuance to many of them. So I've heard the questions. Let me give it some thought. We are not trying to hide answers or hide information from the community, but we want to be clear and thoughtful about what we provide, make sure that it is complete and accurate. So they've been noted, and we will try to find a way to answer those in a way that is useful to the community.
Fair. Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you all for giving me the ability to do this.
Well, and I know that I'm not legal counsel, obviously, but if I could just interject, I think we don't have to have legal counsel to say we're following this. Just I could answer why is the board taking this past secrecy or in executive session. This is the correct procedure for us to follow for any personnel issue. This is how we handle personnel issues both at City Council and here with LFRA. It's unfortunate to not be able to be transparent, but again, we are talking about an individual. And I personally, if I were in this position, I wouldn't necessarily want information, shared with the public, even maybe before it was shared with me or even after it's shared with me. So there is a privacy and confidentiality that has to kind of go hand in hand with this. But I think it's important to express that maybe I shouldn't speak on behalf of the board, but I think I can fairly say that we do want to share as much information as we can when we can. And we won't kick that can down the road. We will make sure that we can, as soon as we can share something, we will be forthright and be able to share that with everyone. So I hope that's okay to say. But I think, that there's no secret to why the board's taking this path. It's because this is our protocol and this is the procedure. So, I mean, I think that's fair to say right now with all these people that are caring to know.
And Emily, that did trigger one other question that was asked out there. If the chief elects to say, release this information, can we do it?
Okay, I will make note of that question as well.
Thank you.
All right.
And I'm all done, Chair. Sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you. Great questions. Okay, any other comments or questions from the board? Going to item number 5, executive session pursuant to CRS 246402 4B to receive advice of legal counsel regarding fire chief personnel matter. I will need a motion and a second on that.
I'll make that motion, Chair.
Oh, go ahead.
A motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Sorry, Chair, I will make that motion.
Further discussion?
And I will say, oh, sorry.
Okay, no further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Did we have a second, Chair?
Aye.
We did. I
Okay.
think Paul was the first and you were the second.
Well, I will officially be the second, but I wanted to make sure we had it. That's what I was going to say.
I think you both spoke about the same time.
Thank you.
We have a little bit of a lag in time on our screen up here, so it's difficult to tell what's going on at times.
Mr. Chair,
yes,
you called for discussion. I didn't get my mute off fast enough. I'm sorry. I just was curious if this is the last item on the agenda. Are we coming back for the individuals who are meeting? Are they?
Let me describe for both the board and the individuals on the call how this will work. The board members and legal counsel have been circulated an entirely separate meeting link. So I will ask here in just a moment, not yet, each of the board members and myself to exit this meeting entirely. It is a confidential executive session. We don't want video or mics left open. Everybody else is invited to stay in the meeting if you would like to. We don't have a time frame for the executive session. Once the executive session has ended, the board members and I will exit the executive session meeting room and we will return to this one. And any discussion that occurs after the executive session will, of course, be open to the public to listen in. Also, while I've got the mic for a moment, I do want to certify for the record that the executive session constitutes a privileged attorney-client communication and it will not be recorded. So with that, once the board is ready, we can go ahead and exit this meeting and I will see you in the executive session room momentarily.
Well, I think we have to vote.
Oh, have we not voted to go in?
No, I interrupted.
I'm sorry. That's okay. I got a bit ahead of my skis, but it all still stands.
I messed it up, Emily. I'm sorry.
No, it was me.
with all that confusion behind us, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried.
We will return soon. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Anybody out there?
Paul, I'm
Yes,
here. I just can't get my video to work.
we're present. We are waiting on Directors Swanty and Thompson to be able to reconnect. And once they're back on, we'll be able to get going again.
Thank you.
Okay, it looks like we have everybody.
Do we have everybody online now?
Chair Swansea, I'm here, but unfortunately my video for some reason will not start now. But I'm here.
I'm here as well.
Is Paul in?
He is, yeah. You guys have an echo in your room.
I don't know what's causing that.
It's noticeable, but it's not totally disruptive. And we do have all 5 board members back on the call.
Okay. It's noted we're back in session. I apologize for the technical issues on this end. And for any of the public still out there, thank you for your patience. We appreciate your time. Coming out of executive session, I'd like to open it back up into regular session and open it up for conversation with the authority board. Are there any comments from the board?
Director Sampson's hand is raised.
Director Sampson?
Thank you, Chair Swanty. So I just wanted to make sure that the public understands that we have heard their concerns. Unfortunately, there's incomplete information out in the public right now, and as time continues, we will be able to provide more complete information, but we have an obligation to, as a board, address all things, seen and unseen, and to consider those things. So we, at this point, just have a process we have to follow, and we just ask that the public kind of just hang tight and have faith that there is a process and we are following it, and we also are hearing them, and I think are giving a great deal of thought and consideration into this decision, because we recognize the impact that this decision makes. So I just wanted to share that, after such a difficult meeting.
Thank you for those comments. Are there further comments or any motions from the board?
I do have a motion, Chair Swanty, to share if no one else had anything that they wanted to share first.
Yes, please go ahead and make your motion.
Okay. So I move to direct the Personnel Committee to work with our legal team to prepare a letter of intent to terminate Chief Sendelbach to follow the process as set forth in the Chief's employment agreement, and to be considered by the board at a special meeting to be scheduled for Thursday, February 12th. Dependent on the outcome of Thursday's meeting, per the employment agreement, next steps would include a meeting with the chief and the board.
Okay, we have a motion made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mayor McFall has seconded the motion. Is there any further comments from the board? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
I believe I heard 5 ayes on that. Motion carries.
Chairman Swanty, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Can I clarify that the meeting to be held on Thursday, February 12th will be held at 9:00 a.m.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, further comments from the board? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, yeah, usually.